Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you all had a good week. I hope you had a good Christmas if you were celebrating, but today is December 31st. It is New Year's Eve. Happy New Year. And I'm here to wrap up the month of December. Like, how is this even real right now? How did we get here? But yeah, I'm here to wrap up the month of December, so let's hydrate. Let's hydrate, and I hope you have some water or have something with which to hydrate, because we must stay hydrated. So so in total, I ended up reading 6 books in the month of December. I have them all here, and we'll just go... Yeah, we'll start from the bottom, I think. Sorry, you can't even see me in the shot, can you? Yes, you can. So we'll just start from the bottom and work our way up. So the first book that I read was Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. This was the Introverted Reader Book Club pick for December. I have a full review for this on my channel. If you want to go and watch it, I will leave it linked down below. And to end the year off with a book club pick like this was absolutely perfect, because I love this. I loved it. So if you want my full thoughts, feelings, and opinions on this book, go and watch my review. And yes, I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. That's the thing about December as well. I gave like 4 books on my TBR 5 stars. So pretty damn good. And I was honestly a bit worried that I wasn't going to be reading, that I wouldn't be able to read that much, you know, with it being the festive season and work and everything, but I did pretty well. So the next book that I read was actually on my Kindle. It's a book by Billy Bloom, who, if you're unfamiliar, is a queer romance author. They write gay, smutty romances. And I read the very last one of theirs that I hadn't read yet. They are coming out with another book in January, I believe, but it's like a collaboration with another author. But the book that I read it's called Me Against the QB. Now listen, I've read a whole bunch of Billy Bloom's books, okay? They go from 0 to 100 like that. They don't make a whole lot of sense most times. Like, and by the end of the book, the couple's getting married. Like, they're usually like less than 200 pages. Majority of it is smut. And I knew what I was going into whenever I picked this book up. So it's basically about this, I can't even remember their names if I'm being honest, but it's about this football player who has been getting into a lot of trouble. He's got himself into a couple of scandals, and the other main character is basically a part of the talent agency that represents him, and his father owns the company, and he basically says to his son, listen, you need to keep an eye on him for the next week or so until the heat dies down from his latest scandal, so that we can get stuff together, and then so he doesn't, you know, basically lose everything, you know? And our other main character, I think, is called Randy. Why is the name Randy popping up in my head? Either way, it doesn't matter. But he describes himself as being grey sexual. And I have an issue with this, because I don't have an issue with a character being grey sexual. In fact, have as many grey sexual characters as you want. Have, you know, all the asexual representation in romance books, please, I'm begging you. However, don't tell me that you're grey sexual and then less than 2 pages later, you're letting this man give you a blowjob on the couch. Like, and also as well, what really rubbed me the wrong way was that he mentions it to the football player, right? They have to stay in his cabin for the week, because that's what his father told him. He was like, stay away in our cabin for the next week or 2 till the scandal heat dies down. He tells this man that he's grey sexual, that he doesn't have any interest in sex. And this man basically says, well, you haven't been with me yet, so you don't know, do you? And it's like, fuck you. Like, actually, fuck you. And not in the literal sense. Fuck you. Like, how fucking dare you? Like, I'm sorry that I keep dropping F-bombs right now. And I know you've probably never heard me drop one before, but it really rubbed me the wrong way. And You might have seen on Goodreads that I gave it 4 because entertainment wise, you know, I was trying to be kind. Like if I was going with purely off entertainment and fun, it's a 4-star, but objectively, it's a 2. It pissed me off. Anyway, but yeah, I will continue to read Billy Bloom's ones. This one was just a dud because all the rest of them were really, really good. It was just this one that pissed me off. But anyway, yes. So I'll come back to my Kindle in a second, but going from a book that pissed me off to a book that had me crying, tears in my eyes by the time I finished this book, and it was Bloodmarked by Queen Tracy Dion. Tears in my eyes, people, by the time I finished reading this. Like, I could not put this down. If I could give this book all the stars in the cosmos, I would. It was that good. I could not stop reading it. Okay, so it's the sequel to Legendborn. Obviously, I can't give you a synopsis without spoiling everything, and I don't want to spoil everything for you because this book is phenomenal. So what I'm going to tell you about the series as a whole, if you haven't read Legendborn yet, which you should, if you enjoy stories about Arthurian legend, if you enjoy stories with secret societies, if you enjoy stories with badass black female characters like my girl Brie right here, if you enjoy stories about black girl magic, then pick up Legendborn and read it. It's so good. I can't even. I will say that slavery plays a huge role in the telling of this story. So be wary of that when you're going in, and also obviously be aware of lots of other trigger warnings as well, because it talks about grief and death and trauma and stuff like that. So be wary of all of that when you go in. But read Legendborn for the love of Merlin. Read Legendborn and then read this. And also this guy, Selwyn Kane. He fully has my heart. And if anything happens to him, I'm gonna riot. Tracy Dion will be hearing from my lawyers. I did actually tweet out after I finished it, and she tweeted me back. She said, "Thank you for reading," and I was like, "No, thank you, mother, for this book. Thank you so much." Like, Bloodmarked, oh my gosh. Like, I can't even. I need to stop, otherwise I'm gonna start crying again. So, and after I was done with Bloodmarked, I went back on my romance kick, okay? I read a fantasy romance this time on my Kindle. I read A Light in the Flame by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the sequel to Shadow in the Ember, which is the sort of like prequel series to From Blood and Ash, because it talks about like characters that they mention in From Blood and Ash, you know, like it's about this girl called Sarah, and she is known as like the first maiden, whereas in From Blood and Ash, Poppy is like the current one. So like Sarah was like the first, and then it carried on, and then in Blood and Ash we get Poppy. But Sarah is basically, her whole role as the first maiden is that she was basically groomed to seduce the primal of life and death, make him fall in love with her, and then kill him. But then obviously that's, you know, it's so much more than that. That's the basis of what it is. But if you're into fantasy romance and you enjoyed From Blood and Ash and you haven't read Shadow in the Ember yet, by all means go and read it. Light in the Flame, oh my goodness, this book was like crack to me. I couldn't put it down. Like, I devoured it. Like, the word, I will say as well, the word devour is used a lot, and if that rubs you the wrong way, I'm sorry, but it kind of annoyed me a little bit, but I didn't really care. But yeah, like, oh my goodness. I was actually making like weird squeaky audible noises as I was reading this book. I was sitting going, "Oh, you in it? You in it?" Like, I couldn't stop. It gave me that, you know, that like bubbling up of giddiness and excitement you get when you're reading a book that just like has you by the neck and you don't care. Like, that was what this book was for me. I need to get a physical copy of it because I'll definitely want to reread it at some point. I need to reread From Blood and Ash, but Light in the Flame, 5 stars. I loved it. That is the third 5 stars that I've given. So we have 2 more books to talk about. The next one is actually a graphic novel, and it's The Demon in the Wood by Leah Bardugo, and the art is by Danny Pendergast. So yeah, this is based off of a short story, I believe, that Leah Bardugo had released previous. But I haven't read that short story. Obviously, I've only read the graphic novel. But basically, this is sort of, it says the Darkling's origin story comes alive. I would not say that that is particularly accurate because this isn't his origin story. His origin story would be if we had gotten him from when he was like a small child up till an adult, you know, and how he like came aware of his powers. That's not what this is. This is like a snippet of what his life was like as a young teenager prior to his powers developing and him, you know, creating the fold and everything. If you're not familiar with the Grishaverse, I'm probably talking gibberish to you right now, but I did really, really enjoy my time reading this. I thought it was a really cool insight into who the Darkling was, you know, as a teenager. And I love the little, like, the little devotion at the beginning from Lee Bardugo. It says, to the cast and crew of Shadow and Bone, especially Ben, who was one of the good guys. I mean, Ben Barnes as a Darkling was best choice ever made. But anyway, if you are a fan of the Grishaverse and you haven't read this yet, I would definitely recommend, because even though it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, it definitely was a really, really fun time. I really enjoyed seeing more of the Darkling's backstory and, you know, a little snippet of what he was like, you know, as a teen, as an angsty teen. And this, the hardcover has like that on the front, which is beautiful. It doesn't have anything on the back. Again, why would you have all of this and then I spine and leave the back there? Why do they continue to do this? I don't know why, but yes, it was fun. It was a really, really fun time. I had fun. 4 stars to that. And the very last book that I read in December, I finished it just yesterday, and that is Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. This is the sequel to Amari and the Night Brothers. Obviously, because it's a sequel, I can't give you a spoiler. But it's a middle grade series about this girl named Amari, and she lives with her mom, and she has a big brother as well, but her big brother has been missing for a couple months. Everybody's trying to tell her to give up on him. They're all like, girl, he's gone, he's dead, he's not coming back, blah, blah. She doesn't believe it. She believes that the organization that he worked for has something to do with it. And then she finds a note from her brother being like, hey, go and look at the suitcase in my closet. You'll find all the answers in there. So she goes in, and when she finds the suitcase, a whole bunch of stuff happens. She finds it, and then the organization that her brother worked for get in touch with her, and she comes to find that her brother worked for this underground government organization called the Federal Supernatural Bureau of what is it called again? Hold on. Bureau of Supernatural Affairs. I totally tongue twisted there. I'm sorry. I'm not myself today. I've just had coffee. I'm a bit jittery actually. But anyway, so the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs gets in touch with her, and they're all like, hey, your brother was one of our special agents, and we would really love it if you would come and, you know, train with us and, you know, do what he did. And obviously she says yes, because in her mind, she's like, I need to go and figure out stuff about my brother. I need to find out what happened to him, if he's still alive, and it kind of goes from there. And this was honestly so good. I mean, I feel like this was sort of like a bridge gap between book 1 and the next, and you know, the one that's after this. And even though it felt like that, it wasn't boring. Like a lot of times when you read like the sequel to a story that kind of feels like, oh, we're just filling in the blanks till we get to book 3. It didn't, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I'm so bored, nothing's happening. Like, things happened. Things happened in this. And again, I could not stop reading it. It was so good. Like, I'm so happy that I ended the year on a high with all of these books, because every single book I read this month, apart from the Billy Bloom one, was a hit, an absolute hit. And I love this. I love Amari. She's amazing. She's wonderful. I will, and another thing I want to say is I really, really admire what B.B. Alston's doing with this series, because especially in this one, he allows it to, he's created this fantastical world, but it's like he uses that to open up conversations about things that are happening now, you know, like political issues, social issues and stuff like that. And I loved it. Like, I devoured that, all the discussions that were happening in here. I loved it. And yeah, if you haven't read Amari yet, you totally should. I gave this 5 stars. I loved it. I've said that numerous times, but it's true. So let's gather up all the books that we read. Hold on, put Demon in the Wood there. Woo! I like to have them in size order, okay? Don't judge me. Okay, so these and the two on my Kindle are all the books that I read and completed in the month of December. I'm so happy with my reading this month, and I meant to read 100 books this year. Again, I didn't get to that. I think I read like 80 books this year, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. So yeah, hope you all had a good festive season if you were celebrating. I hope you have a great night tonight, whatever you're doing, whether you're going out or you're just sitting at home with your cat or your dog, whatever, you know, just happy new year, and you know, let's move on into 2023 with some positive vibes. I love you guys. Thank you so much for all your love this year, and yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep doing it. Let's just keep reading and doing what we love. And yeah, I love you all. Bye.